Hey everyone, this is Karma, and we're just going to be doing a really quick tutorial for Cocoron. It's going to be kind of just off the cuff because I'm literally taking a lunch break to do this, but I just kind of want to cover a few things, so without further ado, timer starts typically when you hit start on this screen here. You can hit start to skip dialogue, very important. It makes everything a lot more consistent. So the first thing I want to cover is that with each character that you make, you have a bunch of different heads you can use, and you can only use each head once, but you do get 3 of each head. If you're going to play super casually or super safe, one thing I actually recommend doing is going Monster, Wing, and Shuriken. You'll notice on the left there we have 2 full bars, and then on the right there we have a half bar. So that's 2.5 bars of health. And you'll notice that while Durgi here isn't super speedy, it can still fly for a decent amount, and you still have the shurikens to work with, and you're relatively tanky, so that's one way you can go. However, for the speedrun, you can choose any of the ghost heads, and personally I like to use the skull head because it's the coolest, but for the sake of the tutorial, let's go ahead and use the flame head. We want the wing body, basically the same as the other setup, but with the ghost head instead. This gives us 2 full bars of health, so half a bar less health than the other, but it gives us more speed, a little bit higher of a jump, same power, and a bit more flight time. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the stages here. The first thing we're going to want to do is hit left once to go to the Milk Sea. And the stage here is really straightforward, you just kind of run through however you like. And it doesn't really matter too much if you take a hit like that. Just keep holding right, watch out for the armadillos specifically, they will hurt you a lot more than the penguins will. On about the 5th time that he opens up his mouth, you'll want to hit start. And on the music here, when you hear this note on the 2nd time, you'll be able to get up and start mashing. And just mash at a distance that feels comfortable to you. If your mashing isn't quite as good, you might want to hang back just a little bit farther. And again, you just hit start, skip past the cutscene here. Again, you can hit start or A there because it's only one dialogue box. So the next character we're going to make is a really speedy character that cannot fight worth a darn. So we're going to use the question mark head, which is lighter but has less HP. We're going to use the other wing body, you have to hit right to get to it. And then we're going to use the melody weapon, which is the lightest weapon. And as you can see here, it moves very quickly, has a very long flight time, but this weapon is not very good. So we're not going to use it on any stages with the boss. We're going to hit right once to go to the castle, and we're going to start going left, stop at the egg, and try your best to drop down. If you miss that, it's better to undershoot it so you can kind of guide yourself along. I highly recommend doing just a little bit of save state practice to find your personal pathway. Stop, and stop for those 2 turtles. They will do a full bar of health. I personally like to wait for this armadillo to go to the left so it doesn't cause any lag. Pretty straightforward here. Oopsie, that's fine. A little bit odd there, how it tends to go up to the right there. The main thing is you want to make sure you get through this stage with at least 4 bars of health, if not more, just because you're going to be taking 1 guaranteed hit against the boss if you do it quickly. So with this fight, you just basically want to get used to the spade patterns here. And I really highly recommend standing on the right side here and just practicing this a lot. The patterns are always the same. And while the time save isn't huge from shooting down the spades, the next card will not spawn until all the spades have left. the screen, so you want to do your best to make sure you get the last 1 or 2 spades. You'll notice that when about 7 spades start showing up, that's when I stop shooting all the earlier ones. Now we want to pre-fire a couple of them to get past the first jack. Sometimes they'll go down, but you can chase them. And there you go, that's how you deal with the Joker. And as long as you have at least more than 4 bars of health, so you need 5 bars, I apologize. But you need to be able to take a 4-bar hit of damage, is the main thing. I definitely recommend practicing that fight with save states, because once you get it down, it's a very consistent and easy thing. So the final creature that we're going to make, we just need one of the other question mark heads. You can either use the pumpkin or the clown. I prefer the pumpkin. We'll need a boat, and we need a pencil because we need a straightforward weapon that is light. So this pumpkin boat here moves pretty quickly, and it can float on water, or in this case milk, and as you can see the pencil weapon shoots straight forward. We're going to keep using our little Durgy here, and head over to Icefire Mountain. Just jump right over those 3 armadillos. You can walk up that first slope safely, but I recommend jumping up that second one so you don't get rocketed up into the fish. And then I like to shoot these 2 fish and then jump under these 2, and then just kind of fly up here. And then with our flight distance, we have to land on that little cloud before the big one, and then we have to land and shoot that one. This stage is really fun to optimize. So for here, it just need to hit enough of the shurikens, and then once you get the dragon free, just stand inside of it and keep shooting shurikens, because you'll take a lot less damage from a body check than you will from the projectiles. Just try your best not to shoot a shuriken outside of the dragon, because then it'll fly away and shoot projectiles at you, and it'll be really annoying. So finally, the last 3 characters we make don't really matter too much, so we're just going to go ahead and spam A for the first one. And then we're going to hit left to go to Star Hill. And we're just going to pretty much jump over everything here. Now make sure that you stop holding left as soon as you get off that screen, otherwise you will die. You can land there and fly until about the 4th eclair here, and then you can just kind of keep flying for a little bit and landing on the eclairs that are high enough for you to hit. And as soon as you're above that first elephant there, you can just kind of drop down and run as fast as you can. It helps to jump over the uphill slopes just to keep yourself going consistently. For Harvest Moon, the main thing you want to watch out for is not to touch any of the stars that are connected to its body still. I like to hang out here on the left, just because it's a little easier for me to sneak in hits. My mashing isn't the best, so hey, people going for the record, this is where you can improve. But yeah, just make sure you keep your distance. If he does spawn on the left side, you actually still do have a bit of room to work with, you just gotta be a little bit careful. So we'll make another character here, we'll hit right one, and then just A on Parasol. And then we'll hit left once to get to Fairy Forest, and just, as much as you can, walk down the slopes and jump over the upslopes. It just helps control your height, and going down slopes definitely helps with your speed a little bit. And it's okay to stop right there, because those last 2 stars there are a little bit annoying. If you're low on health, try that egg. It might drop enemies, but it usually has a habit of dropping health. It's RNG though, so yeah. Make sure you kill those. They will cause a lot of lag if you don't. And then we can just kind of drop down here like this. Pretty straightforward stage, but really fun when you get it right. Here's Titania. She's a really easy boss. Especially if you still have health. You just pretty much get up in her face and mash. Depending on when in her cycle you kill her, she will have kind of a different amount of time that she actually takes to die. So the faster you can mash, the likely better time you will have on her. And again, we just need to make one more character. So I like to hit down and then up to make Ninja Spring here. Hit start to skip past the dialogue, and then here we need to make sure that we select the non-fighting character, and then we can hit right once to go back to the Milk Sea. And this is the pathway that I like to take through here. Easier to just show it than try to describe it. And it's totally okay to just take a hit from an armadillo there. We're gonna have to be a little bit careful here because I kind of messed up, but we should just be able to weave through everything here. Taking 2 hits from an armadillo would be deadly, so if you do want to play it safe, I do recommend waiting on that first armadillo, but it's a short stage, and you can easily just kind of rocket past everything. So here's the Baku stages. Make sure you hold right as soon as you get through that stage. We're going to jump over 2 skunks, and then jump under this arc of fish, drop down under the panda, keep walking until we run into 2 more skunks here, and as soon as you're over that second skunk, you can just hold right. Start to rescue some of our characters back, but we won't need any of them for a little bit. The first 3 of 5 stages we're going to be using the Speedy character. So make sure you keep selecting the Speedy character. If you die at any point during these stages, you get sent back to the beginning of these 5 stages. So I like to drop down onto that platform, take a hit, and then just kind of keep boosting forward, and then we can pretty much fly to the end of the stage. There's our friend Pumpkin Boat. The next stage that's coming up is very tricky, casually speaking, but it's not so bad in a speedrun. So I'll go ahead and show you a couple things about that real quick. Make sure you land right here so you have enough flight time. Drop on any of these flowers, and the one thing I will mention is you'll notice that as long as I'm standing on this flower, it does not close back up again. So if you need a resting point, you can take one. Take an armadillo damage boost there, quick pit stop on that flower, damage boost from a skunk, and drop through. It's really simple in a speedrun. So the next stage is one that's a bit tricky, and I would definitely recommend doing a bit of save state practice on. You might be able to get away with doing a heavier boat, but I highly recommend practicing with Pumpkin Boat because a lot of the jumps that you would make here are obnoxious without it. So quick jump there. Make sure that when you get to the top of the slope here, you stop holding right, so then we're just going to keep going here. And this is why we have Pumpkin Boat. Couple high ones, another high one, low, 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 and then 2 more high. That is approximately what that should look like. Again, highly recommend save state practicing, because if you do run into any of the cacti, Oh my god, I can't speak. If you run into any of the cacti, you will take a lot of damage. So for this last stage, we're just going to use our Durgy again, just because it makes it really easy to not have lag or as much lag. Really straightforward stage. Just kind of make your way up. So coming up is Tapir, our first boss fight. And as you can probably guess, we need to use our Durgy Thicken fight with shurikens. The main thing is that you want to try your best to kind of get double hits as much as you can. This first Tapir fight is pretty easy to not die on, so just be aggressive. As much as you can, try to do this like forward motion towards him. And it'll help you get a bit more on the double hits. You don't have to worry about scary 5-shot eggs. Final stage here. Not too bad, just a matter of practicing, really. The screens don't scroll left until you actually hit the ground, so that's why I like to land a little bit more to the right, just so I have a little bit of room to work with. Kind of flutter your jump to be able to get over all these cheerleaders. A little tap there and a little tap there on the flight. These flames will do a full bar of damage. Make sure you avoid them at all costs. You can shoot that fish to make your travel a little bit safer. Just shoot these as they land. Now, if you haven't taken a hit at this point, you can rush this penguin. If it shoots you, it's fine. You'll still be able to take 3 hits from Tapir before you die. So one more time, we flutter our jumps a little bit. Make sure you land on the flat part to refresh your jump. So Tapir 2, this takes a lot of practice, I would argue, because you just need to realize where your safe zones are. And here I've been kind of unlucky. Oh, hey, look at that. But basically what you want to do is know where they will throw the egg, and just kind of imagine the safe spots, and just... It really just takes a lot of practice in terms of figuring out the best way to deal with stun-locking Tapir. And just figuring out how you want to dodge and hit. You really, really, really want to make sure you hit Tapir as soon as they are vulnerable. Anyway, that was Cocoron. A really, really quick and dirty tutorial. I don't even know if I could call it a tutorial more than just a practice run, but I hope some of the information was useful. I'll let the credits play out here and then I'll cut.